everyone, and welcome to what I think is a very special 2 episodes of Before You Jump. So, Kels isn't here at the moment. So Kels is just got back from a trip away from Auckland, and when he was there, he decided that he wanted to replace his nose. So he's in nose surgery at the moment, getting a new nose. That's what we're going to go with.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, who do I want? Who do I want across from me? And I was like, I know, I want Karl, because Karl's the same colour as Kels, and they both start with K. So I was like, the pattern still works.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
That, and I had been wanting, like, me and Karl have been talking forever about, like, I want to do an episode
time.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah. And I've been like, I want to get you on the show, and then Karl was like, yeah, and then he would be like, I want to be on the show. I'd be like, yeah, me too. And then you did the 24-hour podcast,
Yes,
which was the first time you were on the
fantastic.
show, which was cool. But I feel we couldn't like dive as deep as we wanted to into what we wanted to talk about. So fucking here we are.
Yeah.
Finally, we set a date. I was so happy we did that, because I was like, we were always like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'll be like, oh, bro, I'm busy. And then you'd be like, oh, well, what about that? And I'll be like, oh, what about this? And you'd be like, oh, no, I can't. I'm doing this.
Okay, look, I'll just nut this down in my diary.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. Like, this is the first year I've kept a proper, like, diary, like a calendar diary. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I have a week to view diary, and it's been the best thing I've done because I'm so organised. Because between like work, the kids, comedy, podcast, and the other projects I'm hoping to start, I want to do some more study. Like, I just don't. I need to be a bit organised. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I don't have that organisation, it'll just kind of collapse. And poor Jen was like, I'm sick of being your PA. Because every day I have to be like, what's happening today? And she has to remember mine and hers and the kids.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm going to be organised. So I'm glad we did this. We even set a time and we stuck to it.
Yes.
Yes,
indeed.
you were like, about 3? And I'm like, yeah. And then today you're like, what time? I'm like, fucking 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I was like, sweet, already done. Yep.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's
I'll
awesome.
be ready. Boom.
Yeah. So first question, how are you?
I suppose the whole idea of this program really is, well, for a start, I'm glad to be here.
Oh, good, man. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here too.
So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
And doing the show.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to it for a long time, and you got some brilliant ideas around what is going to be coming up. So
Yeah.
I really quite like that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, and I think through that too, I'll be able to give an idea, I suppose, about how I have been, because as some of your listeners may know, the death of my son has been a big part of my life, I suppose.
Yeah. Big
for
part.
Huge. For over a year now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons for that, which we'll definitely talk about as we go on.
Yeah.
So for me right now, sitting here, I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good today?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's good, man. Sorry. Now, I'll apologise to you in advance, because, like, I've been organising shit, and I've got some notes that I don't want to forget.
Primo.
So I've got my phone, and so you might see me jumping on and off.
Yep.
I'm not being rude.
That's
I am
cool.
listening.
Yeah.
It's just like, I keep wanting to be like, oh, and this.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So I said before I want this to be 2 episodes, and I ran that by you in the car. And for those listening, the reason I say 2 episodes is, one, because Karl is a content machine. Like, we had Dan Brader on, and I knew instantly, I was like, you can't contain Dan to 1 episode.
Right.
Like, Dan Brader is a content maker. I think you're the same, because you have a background in radio, so I know you. I could probably walk out and come back in an hour and a half, and my episode would be done. I could probably cruise.
I don't know.
I could call this in.
I'm
not going
a
to.
question asker.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a radio background, so you're usually in my chair. And don't turn that off. Like, if you want to, like, feel free, take over. If you want to take over, bro, take over. But 2, I think you've got. Like, as I said to you in the car, like, I want this to be a 2-parter, because I want part of it to be just about you and your life, because I think you're an interesting guy, and the more I talk to you, the more little things that are like, you're like a little do you remember when you were a kid and you'll play Pass the Parcel?
Yes.
Yeah, you're like a Pass the Parcel. Is that I keep doing a layer thinking there'll be a prize and there's another layer and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I'm a parfait.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. And I also think that we got tons to go over. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we were talking in the car too, and I think one of those things that we definitely touched on and agreed on is that I'm the oldest child, and
yes.
so I was brought up very much to be the one who's supposed to look after his sisters.
Yeah.
So, I can come across quite conservative.
Yeah.
And I am. In some ways, I do restrict myself around other people. Yeah. And it can come off maybe as a bit, I don't know, like a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not how I feel inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other rule about our podcast is you can say whatever you want, but you can also say the opposite. So you can veto shit out. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
You can just give me a shake of the head and be like, nah, that one. Not that I want to be like, how big is your dick, Carl? No, like, I don't want to.
Well, there's pictures of Donald Trump.
But like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know the deal. You know the deal.
Absolutely.
We go where we want, and
Fantastic.
Normally it's a no edit, but I'm also like happy to edit. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So those are the rules of the podcast.
Nice.
The rules are you can flip it on its head and become the interviewer. You can answer whatever you want or don't want to, and we can cut out whatever you want.
Sounds good. Sounds
so
good. I imagine that not much of that would need to happen anyway. Because
I hope not. Yeah,
because it's generally how I like to work anyway.
Totally. Now you've already said that you're the oldest.
Yes.
Of how many?
So
sisters?
I have 3 sisters.
Yeah.
And being the oldest brother, they love to gang up on me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so
Did you grow up here in Palmy?
I was born here.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Woodville.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I spent 13 years.
Yeah.
14 years in Woodville.
Wow.
Yeah.
So essentially the first 14, or you remember sort of thing?
Well, yeah. We moved from Palmerston North to Woodville when I was like 6 months.
Okay, so the first 14.
So, yeah, and then my father was an engine driver, so Woodville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. And the sisters, are they like? Is there big gaps, or are you?
Oh, so I've got a slightly younger sister, 2 years younger.
Yeah.
And then there's a 10-year gap.
Yeah.
And then there's a 2-year gap between those two.
Okay,
so,
cool.
So 2 years between the older two and 2 years between the younger two.
And then 10 years.
Then 10 years, which in some ways I regret being an older brother to the littlest two.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really around for them when they were teenagers.
You were a teenager.
Yes. Yeah, so
when they were teenagers, you were an adult.
Teenagers,
yeah. Yeah, you were growing up.
I was growing up, and so they... But they're close siblings to each other. They have their own thing going on.
And have you always lived in this, I guess, area, Manawatu?
No. So about 14, moved to Rotorua.
Yeah.
And lived there for quite a while until I got married.
I think Rotorua is that place where, like, I love going to Rotorua, but I've never lived there. And I'm always like, that'd be a great place to live because I love going there. It's like when you say, like, oh, man, I bet living in Fiji is amazing. And then when you, like, the people in Fiji are like, can we leave?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's paradise.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. Rotorua is it's interesting in that it looks nice from outside, but if you're living inside and you don't have much money, it's not very nice at all. No.
Yeah, because like the longest I've stayed there, I'm just trying to think, was I think a week for work. So I stayed at the Holiday Inn, I think it was.
Okay.
Or something in. A big hotel with a pool and hot springs and blah, 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 blah. And it was all expenses paid and all that shit. And so naturally...
A week in Rotorua is fine. It's
naturally my thought of Rotorua is very positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it is beautiful.
Oh, and you get to, I mean, there are bonuses, like you get to to find out the back way to get into the hot springs.
Yes.
Like the local knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you the one thing about Rotorua, I don't know how often you go back, but like the food. That's the one thing, like, I went there for work not long ago, and the food was like, they have that row of that street and it's all food.
Oh, right, yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
oh,
no,
man.
I know the place. I know the one. Yep.
Yeah. We one of my colleagues who I work with took me to this place called the Fainting Goat,
Okay.
and and they do these like platters, and they come on barrel. If you imagine a massive wooden barrel,
Right.
and they just got like the long slats, you know, that go down the barrel.
Yep.
And like 3 of them, so it's quite wide. Whoops. And just so that's on the table, curved, full of food.
Right.
And they just like, there you go, and it's like $80, but it's full.
Full of. Yeah.
Oh,
And is
God.
is it like what do they call them where you turn them around? Not a dumbwaiter, but
a lazy Susan.
Lazy
no,
Susan,
no,
yeah.
because the tables aren't that big.
Oh,
So it
okay.
kind of takes up the whole table,
Oh, far out.
and so it's just all like chicken wings and ribs, and oh man, I'm making a lot of noise, and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was amazing. Anyway, yeah, Rotorua was cool.
Yeah. No, that bits is a little bit after my time.
Yeah,
But I have
very
been
cool.
I have been through there, and there's like, it's a really nice area.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just right, it's at the near the lakefront.
Yeah.
area there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is they've done a really good job of doing that whole
Yeah.
area up.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
lovely.
And there's a little ice cream shop. I hope it's still there. Best
Oh, yeah.
ice cream shop in the country, and you'll just never regret it because it's
Oh, okay.
amazing.
I will next time I go.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Like, just ask anyone
Yeah.
who's ever been to, like, anyone in Rotorua. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah. The other thing I like about you, Karl, is you. We talked before that you've got a radio background. You did a show on public access,
Yes,
Manawatu People's Radio.
that's the one.
And what was the show?
So it went through a number. So Pearce in Politics. Because
Okay.
my last name's Pearce.
Yeah.
So they thought that was, it started off as the Green Ear,
Yeah.
and because it's sort of environmental
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Pearce in Politics, but I wanted it to be more open, so that if I couldn't get to anything like what you were talking about to
Yeah.
your show, somebody else could sit in.
Yeah.
So it was like on point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's quite cool.
Yeah. So
How long did you do that for?
I did that for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, must be 8 years, maybe 9 years.
Wow,
and
that's a
then
long
before,
time.
before then, I was at Manawatu. I was at Massey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So I did radio up at Massey as well.
I didn't.
Control.
Yeah. That's really awesome. That's a long time.
Yeah, but I really liked it.
Yeah, must have.
It was good. Yeah. I mean, I'm tempted. I think I will still go back to it.
I think you should.
Yeah, one day. But
Yeah.
I'm trying out different things.
Yeah. And why not? Like
Yeah,
comedy.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you're quite a performer. Do you know, not just comedy, but I get the sense that you're born for the stage, Karl.
Strangely enough, Woodville Little Theatre.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there was a little theatre at the time I was there.
Yeah.
I think now there's about 1,200 people living there. But when I was there was about 5,000 because you had the Tararua cheese.
It's a bit more industrious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A farming community.
Yeah.
The railways was, like absolutely massive.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot. I mean, all the pubs that are there were open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, there was the post office down the main street, and then the Central, and
Yeah.
then the Masonic, and then and these are like full pubs,
Yeah, yeah.
And then down near the railway was the railway.
Yeah. Shocking
Yeah,
creativity there.
Yeah, no way, brilliant.
So you did some community theatre,
Yeah.
and
Which I enjoyed,
yeah,
obviously, when I was a kid.
and now comedy.
Yeah. Well, I knew that 2000. I knew that 2020 was going to be a change year.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people who kind of believe in angel numbers. I don't seem
Okay.
like that type of person.
Yeah. So hold on. Just before you go on, this angel numbers thing is a new thing for me.
Yeah.
I've just kind of started hearing about it. It's been around obviously for a long time.
A very long time. Yeah.
But it's new. So if I seem a bit blank,
That's all right.
I'm still, like, I've heard about it and I get the idea. I don't even get the idea. I just know about it. I know it's a thing. So,
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah,
continue. 2020.
2020, yeah. What it is recurring numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, and a big one is 1111. It's sort of how people like to think that the universe is telling them that they're on the right track, or, you know. So I knew that 2020 was going to be a big change year. So during 2019, I started pulling back on all my board of directorships that I was sitting on, and my radio show.
Yeah.
And I got a talent agent.
Yep. Yeah.
And and that was for radio and not for radio, for TV, movies, just whatever, you know. And it's a background. Yeah. So I don't, not to be in the foreground and actually have to learn lines or do some work.
But would you object if they're like, hey, could you say these 3 lines?
No, I wouldn't.
No, of course not.
Yeah. No. But well, because there's more, you get more money for it too.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, as soon as you say a line, the amount of money you get sort of triples.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
You know.
So, did you get to background anything?
Yes. Yeah,
what did you do?
A few ads.
Okay, cool.
During COVID, the Northern Hemisphere was quiet, so lots of ads for the Northern Hemisphere, and a lot of was it low alcohol beer ads for?
Oh yeah,
for North America.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah, Bud Light and that kind of thing. And I was in the background for the Panthers TV series as well.
About the raids.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
the Dawn Raids.
The Dawn Raids, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
There were a few things I wanted to be in it, which I didn't get, but that are out like Mudu and Dame Fitu. Oh God, I should know. Yeah, it'll come to me.
That's
anyway. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten as much work in that as what I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But also, funnily enough, one of the reasons why I left radio was I felt that I'd reached a kind of a plateau.
Yep.
And so I was doing a bit of political commentary. Yeah. And I was doing some on other radio shows as well with some other access radio. Yeah. But I felt I had a plateau, and I was like, do you know who ends up being political commentators and reading the news? Comedians.
Yeah,
I don't know
true.
Why. I know
Yeah.
yeah. It's like comedians.
I think some of that came from 7 Sharp. Like when they started that show, and they're like, we kind of want this to be a bit more like lighter.
Yeah.
I think that proved. Actually, no. You know what? I think it came from. I can never remember his actual name, but he's like back in my day, he was Newsboy.
Oh, right, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that idea that, it's news, but he puts a bit of humour into it and all that sort of thing. I think the rock radio station has a lot to answer for in that space as well. But I think Newsboy was kind of the one, especially because he had a TV and radio presence.
Yes.
Mikey Havoc and him had their show, and then they had the TV show and all that sort of thing. And I think that kind of started that ball rolling. I think 7 Sharp more recently really brought that up as this is a viable thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Paul Holmes and John Campbell didn't have a few yucks every now and again. I think Paul Holmes needed less of them, but one in particular. But yeah, I think that was the big movement. And then of course when Newsboy, Jeremy Wells.
Yeah.
Yes. of course, when he got the breakfast show with Hillary Barry.
Yeah, well, he's still there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think they've moved to 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch TV anymore. But
I
yeah.
just watch it for the cringe ads. The cringe adverts.
Fair call.
It's comedy gold.
Yeah. But you're right. There is a lot more comedians in that space.
Yeah, news.
News.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's
They
like,
haven't called me yet, but I keep waiting for the call so I can say no.
Yeah. Well, and of course 7 days as well. Who
Yeah.
you know what was in the news in the last 7 days.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I suppose the other thing is that comedians really have had a long love affair with political satire.
Oh, for sure.
So you know,
Yeah.
which which is deserved.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
100%. Yeah. Especially when you think of the cornerstones of comedy. Like George Carlin's a perfect example.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
As much as people disagree with me, Bob Hope.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like he was, I wouldn't say he was overly political, but he was very topical. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then also, of course, you have the likes of Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, and David Letterman. I mean, there's others, but you're talking about like early and then
the early stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you know, like
Well,
topical
for me,
news.
Joe
was,
Carlin was the beginning of that.
Yeah,
They're kind of really telling it how it is.
yeah. I mean,
And then seeing an audience actually, it's almost like sometimes he's ranting,
yeah.
but with humour, and the
Yeah.
audience is just going, yeah.
In fact, I remember there was a. Sorry, if you're listening to this, I just put a lolly in my mouth. I put some chocolates on the
It
table.
was just a lolly.
I do remember at one stage there was a thing. This is probably a decade ago. At the time, that more Americans got their news from late night talk shows
Yes.
than they did from the news.
Yes.
So I guess it really does show that comedy and politics, as much as I'm not a political comedian, they do go hand in hand.
And absolutely, and I've got, God, I'm forgetting his name now, but it'll come to me. But you're quite right, and especially in America too, when you've got the likes of Fox News, which is almost comedic if it wasn't for the fact that people actually believed it.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
And so, when comedians are actually bringing more truth to news than the news stations are, it's a worry. And of course, we're starting to see that here in New Zealand as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is actually quite scary.
It is a wee bit. Let's jump to something else.
Yeah,
otherwise we'll
because
keep doing this.
We have gone off on a
We'll
tangent
keep
there.
doing this. I want to come back to comedy, but I just feel there's more of your journey to talk about. So, can we talk about your mental health journey?
Right, yeah.
So, because I know for me, mine has been longer than I admit to
Yeah,
other people,
right.
and longer than I've ever dealt with it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
I think that goes for all people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But for you, when did you sort of feel like when was the first time you kind of like?
Well, it was crazy. Because I didn't know. I'm just living in my head, rocking around the planet.
I was the same. Yeah.
Exactly. So, other people reckon they saw it, but no one said anything. And so, it took me. I had a really. There's lots of different levels to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, I had quite a violent childhood, and everybody has, not everybody, but a lot of people have, horrible relationships with some members of the family.
I'm with you. Yeah.
And so mine is with my father, and that's also because that's written down in a what would you call, like bloody hell, my brain. I got a bash over the head a few years ago, so sometimes I forget words. An article. I wrote an article for for Social Workers magazine periodical, and so a publication. So I'm published. I'm technically published. Yeah.
Look at you, fancy pants.
and so. That had an effect on me feeling not good enough, coupled with the whole needing as the oldest child to have a perfectionist kind of. That perfectionism coupled with alcoholism, I would put myself into situations where I would strive to be the best, but then I would have the strange thing of completely like burning myself out, and then just drinking to excess and not being able to handle things very well. I didn't see that as a mental health issue until I had a massive public spectacle breakdown. Where I had to just walk away from everything. And that was in 2010. And I had to just do a whole restock, just a big massive reset of life, everything. And a real internal kind of look into, what's going on with myself kind of thing. Which has been
that was the dog.
Okay.
The dog was like, oh, I see food, and ran away.
Luckily. And so that happened, and part of that also was talking with my family about it. And one of the things that got me was my mum and my older sister I said to them, I think I might be like depressed, or have some kind of like mental health issues. And so, and Mum and Michelle just looked at me like perfectly normal and went,
Did you not know?
I didn't. Exactly. And I went, what do you mean? Like just a passing. And I was like, what do you mean? Like just And it's like, well, it's obvious. And I'm like, well, it's not obvious to me. I'm just rocking around, living in my head, doing my dumbass things. And
I totally get that.
And so I suppose in a lot of ways I had to really sit down and think about why I was acting the way I did. And so I've been to rehab a couple of times as well. And that's been really good. I'm not one of those 10-stepper rehabs. I'm not into that. But an actual proper like psycho. Like analyze.
And so, sorry if you don't mind me asking, was the rehab for substance?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I do.
No, that's all right.
Just so people know, like they get what you're saying. Okay. And
I met some brilliant people in rehab. Absolutely amazing.
Good tools.
Yes.
Good tools.
Absolutely. And one of the things I learnt out of rehab is, which is quite sad, is that I learnt that some family members, they see rehab as like a fix-all, but it isn't.
No.
It's not.
It's a start, isn't it?
It's a start.
You got to keep walking the journey. They just get you on the path, sort of thing.
Exactly. And also, the alcoholic is usually what they call, or a drug person who's doing, is like the canary in the coal mine. Child. Gotcha.
Yeah,
it's they're not there because of just them.
Yeah. 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 I understand. Did you like with the rehab? Like you said, it wasn't a step program. Otherwise, this would be a very different conversation. Sorry, how long ago was that?
So, far out. Because I was looking at my certificates when I was moving.
Cool. Yeah.
And 2013, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually longer than long time ago than what I thought. But I went in knowing that I probably wouldn't be giving alcohol up, which is a funny thing to say because people think, oh, you're going into rehab to give up your vice. Because I had already been seeing counselling before then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had done a certain amount of AOE, alcohol and other drugs, counselling. And so they said, I think that this program would be really good for you because you're not a Christian, you don't believe in being an atheist.
Yeah.
The 10-stepper program, and I'm not going to say that Elvis Presley is the God of my understanding because he isn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's not to say though that if you are looking at one of those programs, you shouldn't.
No.
It's just for you,
for me personally, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. If that's the program you're going for, 100%.
Absolutely.
It's better to be in a program than nothing.
Oh, totally. I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And also I have nothing against anybody who has a faith, and if that faith is working for them, then absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to say anything. And in some ways having a faith is better, than not.
Yeah, I agree. I've always kind of said something very similar. I've always felt it's good to believe.
Yeah.
Now, what you believe
in
is fine. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if that is a faith, as the traditional concept of a faith, by all means. But like my best friend's mum believes in fairies.
Right. Cool.
And not in a like they float around and they're pretty. She believes that they're there to help
like
you.
Irish people.
100%.
Well, how Irish people believe in fairies.
It's probably, and she's Welsh. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, well, there you go.
So it's probably very similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've never once questioned. I've never doubted because I've seen the strength it gives her.
Yes.
And I've seen the love it gives her.
Yes.
And so all I've ever done is embrace it with her.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, I'm totally with you. It's good to believe in something.
I have a saying, and that is, I have faith in faith.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Did you say rehab as in like you had to go back?
Yeah. So I didn't just do it once.
Yeah.
I did it. Well, so the first time I did it, I escaped because it was my mum's 60th.
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss it. But I told them. I said, look, I was honest. I said, look, my mum's 60th is coming up.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a big family thing.
Yeah.
And, and I said, look, I really want to attend it. There will be alcohol, obviously. And I'm not going to finish this, set of weeks in rehab. And they said, well, we can't guarantee you being back.
Yeah,
fair
cool.
Fair call. And I said I had to make a choice then.
Yeah.
And I chose my family.
Yeah.
Over my sobriety.
Yeah.
But that's the call I made.
Yeah.
And so I went up and had a good time. My time in rehab obviously was good because I had a very good and very managed and time. So and it was good for my family for me to be there too because because I was able to help out and my skills I had learnt in the rehab,
Yeah.
Had helped me out obviously too. So, and but I was lucky because after I'd spent time with the whānau up north and that, with my mum's 60th, I came back to Palmerston North, and I reconnected with my AOD counselling, and I reconnected with the rehab, and they said, look, Karl, we like you. We know you. We know that you're committed.
Yeah.
We know we've talked with you. You're a good person to have. So so they let me back in,
that's good.
and I did several rounds actually.
Yeah.
Of the next rehab.
Yeah.
Which was good because I needed more than the usual 14 weeks, I believe it is. I actually needed longer for the like the alky sweats.
Like the detox.
The detox part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's rough, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah.
And then what there is too is the which lasts much longer, and smokers can attest to it too. Which is every now and then you'll just get a want.
Yeah. Yeah. So still sober?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, good.
You should know.
I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to what's in your glass, to be honest.
Well,
also, this is the first time hearing this, so now that I think back, I'm like, I've never noticed if he's drinking or not.
Right.
If I'd known that, I probably would have paid more attention.
Oh, doesn't matter.
But you've got the tools now.
Yeah.
You know when it's like,
and
okay,
the
that's
whole
enough.
thing is that it's my choice.
Ah,
You know?
okay.
So what you
That's
might
good.
notice is that earlier on in the show, before I go on, I will only drink like cola.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the show, I'll only drink cola or orange juice or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after I've done the gig, I'll have a beer.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Like for example, today, yesterday, I now have those skills where I should watch out what I say, but I now have the skills to choose not to drink before I do things.
Yeah.
So that when I'm here, I'm here, and then in my diary, if I'm going to drink, I've got a day or two left over.
I have to do the same. That's because I'm getting older.
I know.
And also the problem is what I drink. Like I usually tend to drink whiskey, and that kills me.
No,
I shouldn't.
Actually, I drink whiskey as well.
Yeah. I just got a message from Kels.
Oh, brilliant.
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But he said the nose job looks good.
Oh, excellent.
He's like
already
less Tito, more Michael.
Fair enough, hey. I mean, and the swelling's gone down already. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Technology.
I know,
technology.
far out. Keyhole surgery.
Keyhole, yeah. I had another question to ask you. What was it? Just about what you were just saying. God, I shouldn't have said that about cows.
Mental.
I was going to go back to mental health. That was it. So you did your stints in rehab and all that sort of thing. But like now, like today, whatever. Obviously, like I know this because you've told me before that like we both still suffer from mental health.
Yes.
Depression, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
We
So whenever I text, like whenever, and that's the whole thing is mental health does look like planning things and then at the last minute saying you can't. Yeah.
Oh man, I could. Oh my God, yes. I've never heard it said like that. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had someone say to me before, a friend. This is a long time ago when I still lived in Auckland. They're like, "You're a good dude, but I just feel you're lazy." And I'm like, you don't get it, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because it was exactly that. Oh, let's go Friday after. Let's go for a beer after. This was a friend and a colleague. Hey man, Friday we're all going down to blah blah blah. We're going to have a couple or whatever. Oh, there's this event on this weekend. Blah blah. And then last minute, 4:55. I'm like, no, I'm going home. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, and they're
yeah.
just like, oh, you're a good dude, but you're lazy. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
man, come on.
or you hit a wall, and you know, and then just the energy is gone.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What do you find is your like? How do you reset? Do you know what I mean? Like, when you hit that wall,
Yeah.
obviously you have your downtime.
Yeah, the cave is
That's
first
it.
up. Yeah,
Yep.
first up is the cave.
But then,
not so that it's healthy, but the cave is first up.
no, I get it.
And
I'm
my
the same.
whole life outside of everything is essentially a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, past cave, like, what's your reset? Like, is it... Because I tell you mine is music.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like, I have certain things I'll listen to,
Mm.
and I have a few other things, which I don't want to confuse the two, but, like, music is probably the first post-cave thing.
Yep.
And then... Yeah, but anyway, for you, like, do you have a thing? Like, do you have a... I don't want to call it a ritual or routine, but, like, do you have a...
Yeah, no, I've been told that it's a good thing to do or to have.
Yeah.
Mine is to do things out of that I don't want to do. You know, like sometimes even just doing the dishes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but it's one of the things that I know. You know, if something is going wrong in my mental health, the dishes is, you know, so even just doing the dishes.
Gotcha.
You know, getting up.
Yeah.
You know, and putting clothes on. You know, like, it sounds, you know, like normal people are like, oh my God, you know, like everybody does that. But
it's
sometimes, even that can be just.
And I don't think people
energy.
realise, like, oh, but you got to get up and put clothes on. But it's like, it's when you can't even get your foot off the bed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's, and I say this because Kels is probably doing this right now. It's when you're looking at, I don't know, the floor or your foot or whatever, and you're going, move.
Yeah.
And you and it sounds weird, but your foot's almost going, fuck you.
Well, here's the thing too, because I've got a number of bad habits.
Yeah.
And one of them is I have a 40-inch TV sitting at the end of my bed. That I know it's a terrible habit. I know.
No. I'll tell you why after.
And and it's got like Netflix and Disney and everything on it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so if there's something that's, you know, if that TV was in the living room, because I don't live in the living room.
Okay.
I live in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And so, and that doesn't help my mental health either.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yep. Yeah.
But I am doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
But I've always thought, because I have something. Sorry, the reason I laughed was because if you look, there's a 50-inch TV just behind you.
Right.
So that was like when we replaced our lounge TV, which was that one. That one went into our room, and that was my mistake. Yeah. So then what I did is, actually no, I got a gift was a 32-inch TV.
Right.
Now I wear glasses, but even with these, like my eyes aren't great, and my eyes aren't great because I have to have two different lenses. So it doesn't matter what I have astigmatism in one eye, and the other eye's just not good. So I'll never have good eyesight, right? But I have good enough.
You drive and...
Oh, yeah, like I can drive legally. That's no problem. But anyway, but with TV, I struggle.
Right.
And reading, I struggle. Anyway, but... So the 32-inch was in there, right? And then the other day, this was just a few weeks ago, when I got the 32-inch, I got a wall mount. And the idea was we were going to wall mount it on the other side of the... Like, as far away from the bed as possible. The furthest wall, right?
Okay.
And then the other day, I was like, oh, I forgot about that wall mount. And so now it's wall mounted right next to the bed. And I was like, now I can see it better.
Yeah.
Oh, and not only that, but I can tuck it away.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
It's a swivel. So
nice.
So it actually sits parallel with the bed, and then I can swivel it out.
Nice.
And it sits kind of...
Yeah.
And that was a big mistake for the same reason you said, because now it's right. The remote's right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like yours. It's got all the Netflix and YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And what a big mistake that was. But yeah, no, music is my one. It's
Mm.
interesting you say about the doing thing because I've never had that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something I should try. But I find music helps.
Well, we all have our own
Yeah, totally.
different
But I'm
ways,
always trying
really.
to find new.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe that would work better in that way. Because the music came by accident.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'm like, this is making me feel.
Mm.
And do you know what's weird for me is the songs I need to listen to are songs that would put other people into depression.
Okay.
Like, there's a song called 555. It's by one of my favourite all-time bands, Jimmy Eat World. And shout out to my good friend Jordan, my best friend Jordan, who got me to start listening to them. But like, it's a song about the lead singer wrote it, and he said it's about anxiety, mental health,
Mm.
and all that. And the lyrics are about how, like, the lyrics are essentially, I try to focus on the simple things, try to find some peace along the way.
Yep.
You know, but the other part of it is I keep how's it going? How it's essentially like I keep doing what they're telling me, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm walking in the same spot over and over again.
Okay. Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So for most people, it would go the other way,
Mm.
but for me, it brings me out.
Right.
And there's other songs like that which I listen to. I discovered one today. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I was reading the
Well, do
lyrics.
share.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. It's a Kings. I've been listening to a lot of Kings of Leon lately. They're one of my favourite bands.
Yeah, fantastic.
I've listened to them forever. And it's a song. Oh, that's the wrong thing I opened. Oh, that's the wrong thing I opened. God damn it, Dylan. That's what I mean about my eyes. Like they're like between my eyes and my brain. I can't do shit. I gotta find it. I closed it.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, it's a Kings of Leon song. When you see where you are, you're so far away, or something like that. But the tune. When I read the lyrics first,
Okay.
and then I heard the tune, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't go with that. But when you read the lyrics, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And
I suppose,
very, very
yeah,
heavy.
and that's one of. I know my sister
Yeah.
has one, and it's "Here Comes the Sun."
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And so I grabbed that one too, but I like the B movie.
The B movie. Oh, the Jerry Seinfeld one.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah,
B
I love
movie.
that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the song, "Here Comes the Sun."
Yeah.
From the B movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that version.
Yeah.
So I've got that version.
Oh, that's
sort of,
cool.
yeah.
I'll read you one of the lyrics though that got me into the song. Is the bastard winner's on your back, the rabid dog has caught your track, the golden age of old advice, don't give no cause or alibi.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And as soon as I read that, I was like, this is exactly how I feel. When you see yourself, you're so far away. That's the name of the song. I just saw the lyric of it.
I'll have to have a check it out.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And again, it's a cool tune.
Yep.
But when you hear that lyric and you hear the tune, you're like, that can't be it. But it is it.
Cool.
It's quite an upbeat tune, but quite a horrible, horrible song. Anyway, Kings of Leon, I love them.
Brilliant. I'll have to stick that on my list, and
Yeah. Okay. So if you're listening, we're gonna keep talking, but this episode is gonna end now. We've done 50 minutes, believe it or not.
really,
48. But,
holy moly,
goes quick, eh?
far out.
So we're gonna kill that there, and we're gonna come back with another episode where I want to talk about Braden,
Yes.
and I want to talk about the ward and the investigation, and anything else you want to add, because
Yeah.
you know more of the story than I do.
Indeed, and I suppose what we'll have to do possibly is that in the next there might be some trigger.
Yeah.
Stuff
Oh, we'll do that. But before we do that, so this is week 1. Week 2, you'll hear as soon as it comes out. Now, Karl, I'm going to give you advance notice. You know, you've listened to the show. You know how it ends. Every week we say it before you jump. Blah blah blah.
Oh,
So I'm going to give this week's, and you're going to give next week's.
Okay.
So you got like another however long we talk to think about it.
Get up.
And it might. Okay. Bugger it. You know what? Let's do it. That's it. That's this week's. Before you jump, get up.
Get up.
Because man, you're right. That is it, eh? That is it. That is what it all is. Is that it's that first step. And then sometimes the second step's just as hard, but if you've done the first one,
it's one step at a time, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, totally. So that's that
Talk about
episode.
everything.
What we're going to do is we're going to have a musical interlude. Here we go. Oh, that wasn't it?
Wah, wah.